So, this is episode 1 of Living in Her Light, and I want to talk about one of the most important things that I learned from my therapist. And I am a supporter of therapy, first and foremost. But there were a couple things that I did not agree with that I received from my therapist, but none of that matters. What matters is the most important thing that she taught me that gave me the confidence to truly change my life and to get out of the spiral that I was in, the spiral that um, dimmed my light, the spiral that caused me to literally have palpitations every single night, waking up to my heart pounding every single night, going to doctor appointments, getting echocardiograms, doing cardio exercise tests because I was convinced that my heart was failing. And the reality is that my heart was not failing, is that I was not truly listening to my body and the circumstances that it was under, and it was letting me know that we can't continue this way. So, back to what my therapist taught me. My therapist gave me the most valuable piece of advice that changed my life, and I am sharing this piece of advice for anyone who may need to hear similar advice. And what she said to me was that watch what they do, not what they say. And that is so simple. You're probably hearing this and you're probably thinking, okay, well, that makes complete sense. I'm not quite sure how profound that is. But let's just speak in terms of relationships. And first and foremost, there are all types of relationships. It doesn't have to be romantic relationships to be a relationship, but romantic relationships take a lot of our time and energy. And so, for the sake of that, I'm going to focus on that because that is the thing that took up a lot of time and energy for me. I was in a relationship with someone who would say things, and I would watch the things that they say never come to pass. And when I would confront them about them, they would tell me that, oh, maybe I forgot, or I didn't mean to tell you what's going to happen that day, or any of these things. And so what I would do is I would go, okay, well, when are you going to do the thing that you said you were going to do? And they would say, oh, I promise I'm going to get to it. Just give me some time. I have this going on. I have that going on. And that's, again, listening to what they said to me. So what I did was from listening to my therapist, got to a point where I no longer listened to what this person said to me, but rather I watched what this person did. And the reality is that in my codependency, I would, to make myself feel better, confront this person, get this person to follow up so that the thing that they said they would do that thing for me. But I needed them to do that so that they could prove to me that they could follow their words. Therefore, I did not have to change the outcome. And I hope that made sense just now. And I'm going to say it again because I think that that's just how profound that is. I went from being the person who followed up with this person to do the thing they said they were going to do, because I needed them to do the thing they said they were going to do so that I did not have to change. I went from being that person to the person that took a step back and was able to observe them being who they felt most comfortable being who felt right and felt good to them. And when I took notice of that, I realized that it actually was not a priority to this person to be the things that they said they were going to ever be for me. And with that being the case, I now had to look back at myself. And looking back at myself, I had to go, okay, so what are you going to do about this? What are you going to do about someone who says they're going to do something, but they don't do the thing they said they're going to do? Therefore, you're with someone who is not committed at the same level that you are. So how do you handle that? It now became It now became something that I had to work with in myself. And whether that meant leaving or that meant creating stronger boundaries, whatever that looks like, or whatever that looked like at the time, it doesn't really matter. The fact is, I shifted from being powerless in this situation to realizing that my job is truly to just state what it is that I desire, give that person space to hear that and to perform the thing, and then back away and see what is natural to them. And is it natural to them to do the thing that you request and desire? And if it is, then great. And if it isn't, then you know where you fall in that person's life and as far as their priorities. And for the sake of anyone watching this, this is not a friendship. This was a romantic relationship. This was a marriage. And I think that this can honestly apply to anything. It's not saying that because you don't fall high or as high as you would like to with someone that you have to end the relationship. It just gives you a greater grasp and reality as to what you're experiencing with this person, so that you don't continue to walk around powerless, feeling as though there's nothing you can do, there's nothing that you can change in the situation. And you absolutely can, even if that means that the attention that you're giving this person, you pull back some of that attention and you take it to yourself, and you find a new hobby, or you find something else that brings you joy. Whatever the case is, you now are empowered to make a different choice. So just to go back to the most important piece of advice that changed my life that my therapist gave me, was to watch what they do, not what they say. And this now follows me for the rest of my life. I will never listen to exactly what anyone just says. I will always watch what they do. And we could go into the reason why I may have become this way. Maybe it was because I desperately needed to be reinforced because of things from my childhood, because I've always been wanting and hoping for someone to show up in my childhood. That could very well be possible, but none of that really matters today. It's about me learning how to move forward in life so that I'm no longer stuck in that little girl role. I don't have to wait for anyone. I can make choices freely to myself. And so that piece of advice was so valuable to me. And so if you're listening to this and you may find yourself as someone who oftentimes get caught up in what someone says and allows this person to make excuses, and you've been waiting for months and for years for this thing to come through with this person, then maybe it's time for you to step back and reevaluate where you truly fall with this person, and not to cut them off necessarily, but to redirect your attention to something that brings you more enjoyment and fulfillment, so that you don't have to continue to be in a state of powerlessness. And so this is what I want to say for this episode of Living in Her Light. If you like this, let me know. Like this on YouTube, or leave a comment. And until next time.